Welcome back to the Now Morning Show, and I have a guest in studio. Her name is Mandisa Grandison, and she is the Manager of Client Services, Export TT, and she is here to speak with us about the Export Accelerator program. So welcome on set with me, Ms. Grandison.
Thank you so much, Rihanna.
Great. So tell us a little bit about what the Export Accelerator program is and why it was developed.
Well, the Export Accelerator program is an initiative under the Export Booster Initiative. That is a project of the Ministry of Trade and Industry in collaboration with Export TT and the TTMA, that's the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association. And it was a strategic, with the strategic intent of combating the effects of COVID-19 on the manufacturing sector. And so it does this in a series of ways through initiatives geared at export promotion, capacity building, as well as institutional strengthening.
Okay, so just for persons who probably not familiar, export promotion, what does that mean?
Right, so export promotion is getting your products to the environment. So that is things like trade missions, visiting markets, having those B2B meetings in order to get the business. It is the manufacturer and the potential buyer meeting face to face to get business, essentially.
And this is all in an effort to get our local products on the international market.
Yes, to increase exports. That's the goal.
Good. And who is the Export Accelerator for? What is that program really geared toward? Who is that geared toward?
Right. So the Accelerator seeks to engage companies that, well, strong manufacturers in the local market who have begun to export. So they've got their feet wet in the international market. They might be in, let's say, 1 or 2 markets. They may be doing small quantities or regular shipments. And the goal of the Accelerator is to get them from small-scale exporters to consistent, long-term, sustainable exporters. Because the goal of the entire project is to increase exports and to increase the capacity of these small-scale exporters to really grow and explore their full exporting capacity.
Okay. What kind of companies are you looking for to participate in this second cohort? Because this is the second time that the organization is doing this. So
yes.
Who are you looking for?
So we are looking for, as I said, strong local manufacturers, people who have been well established in the local market. They are in series of large retailers, or if you have your own storefront, that also works. And they're in the position to, or they are ready to, I should say, increase their export focus. So they're people who may have fallen into exports. Very often, you know, you're functioning on the local market, somehow your product makes it somewhere else, and someone comes to you and says, hey, I love your product, can we do some business? And you say, okay, sure, but it hasn't been your strategic intent. What we want to do is help these companies make exporting their focus and a strong arm of their business. Yeah. Right?
So Export TT is the nexus between the international consumer and the local manufacturer, or,
yes.
Or
so
service provider.
Yes. Export TT is the National Export Facilitation Agency of Trinidad and Tobago, and our goal is to, simply put, increase exports. And we do that through providing market research, capacity building initiatives like this one, export promotion. So we take people to markets, we engage buyers and make those connections for our exporters. So our job really is to prepare companies for the opportunities and then guide them toward those opportunities.
What are some of the benefits that these companies would receive as being a part of this program?
So these are companies, as I said, that are doing small-scale exports. So, and they may have fallen into exports. So in terms of the understanding of the best strategy to exports, understanding the full process in terms of the way market research can be so transformative in terms of your business, our goal is to provide the market research that's required, provide export training, because as I say, very often you sort of fall into it, you don't know, the full process, all the things that you should consider in terms of making good business choices. So it's the export training. Something that's been really, really transformational that we had in the first cohort is the business coaching. So each company is paired with a coach that is experienced in business and exports to help them with their strategy, their strategic documents, help them assess what their weaknesses may be and guide them toward closing any gaps that may be encountered. And that, we are not at the end of our first cohort, it is still ongoing, and we have had companies that have increased the buyers in their current markets who have entered new markets, companies who have diversified their product portfolio. So we have seen the growth, and we really credit that to the involvement of the coaching. It really is transformational for businesses.
And you said, well, as we mentioned earlier, this is the second cohort.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the success of the program for the first cohort and what you expect of the second cohort.
Well, as I say, at this stage, and we are not yet at its culmination, which will be the B2B meetings and making those intentional connections, we've already had increase in business. Right? People have, through the advice of their coaches, whether they've increased their digital marketing, and some of our coaches have connections in market who've been able to make those. We've had increase in exports already. People have broken into new markets, you know what I mean? And they're not even at the point of us creating that specific opportunity. We have had clients who, through the guidance of Export TT and their coaches, have been able to access grant funding to develop new products. Because again, diversification is one of our main, the things we want to support and encourage, because it's all about export growth and diversification. So we have seen the output already at this stage, and we only expect that to improve and increase rather as we get to the end where we create those intentional opportunities. And so we are hoping for the same with this current cohort. I mean, we've learned, because that was a pilot of sorts, if you will. And so we've had learnings, we've seen things that we can do better and things that we can tighten up, and because only in the doing you realize the ways you can improve. And so we have made those changes, and we are looking forward to much of the same results, hopefully some wonderful things along the way, and then at the end, getting business, because that's the goal, right? Because yes, we want to prepare our companies and teach them things, but at the end of the day, it's about moving the needle, as we say, getting those business, converting those leads so that we can bring in more foreign exchange, because that's the name of the game.
Yeah. How long is this program for, the cohorts? How long do they, what's the length of the program, I should say?
It can vary. It can be between 6 and 9 months, and that depends on the development needs of the companies and how long that takes. So, I mean, our fiscal ends in September, but if required, we will spill over, because again, the goal is to get us to the end. And if it takes us it takes a little longer, that's fine, because the goal is to get to the output. So we are doing everything we can to ensure that things unfold as we desire and ideally would like, so that by the end of the fiscal, we have begun to move the needle. Because again, as I say, with the first cohort, we've seen the growth and the exports, we've seen new business happening, and so that's what we're hoping for.
So I know you mentioned it earlier in terms of a little bit about what the participants have to go through, or what is involved in the program itself. Could you give us a little bit more about what they're expecting?
Right, so in terms of the training, it's a series of training programs around things like developing an export plan, doing your export marketing, they focus on digital marketing. In terms of the coaching itself, I mean, that is depthful. That is like a 360 assessment of your business to determine this is what the goalpost is in terms of export readiness. What are the things you need to do to get you there? We're also providing things such as things like your digital catalog, which is so essential, particularly today when business is happening virtually.
Yes.
Before you could work with your catalog and your samples, but now because we're doing things remotely, digital catalogs,
everything is social media and online.
Exactly. People are rolling with QR codes, and that's the access to the information on your company profile. These are really important documents going into business meetings. So those are also components of the program. Of course, your export plan development, that is key. Very often, as I say, you fall into business, or you just do the thing the way you know to do the thing, but there is so much merit in strategy. Strategy is key. Strategy and research helps you really understand your market, understand the players, understand the competitive landscape, the pricing you're going to have to compete with. And so even the taste of the market, for instance, let us say garbage bags, just as a random thing to pick. We tend to do black garbage bags, by and large, right? Whereas perhaps in another market, yes, they might import garbage bags, but what if they want blue bags? Or, I don't know, crystalline coated bags or whatever, but you're bringing black bags to the market, and so if you haven't done the research, you don't know that's not quite what they want. And so research really, really is key.
Well, Ms. Grandison, I know we could go on and on about this program. It's such an exciting program, but we have to leave it there for today.
Thank you so much for your time.
Persons who are interested can go to exporttt.co.tt for more information, and we'll be back after this break.
I'm just a stranger in a